Kentucky cop beats missing black veteran with Alzheimer's. Watch.
Do you take any kind of medication or something? No, your pupils are very, very, very tiny, pinpointed. Can you look up in the air for me?
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't drug.
Go ahead and turn around and put your hands behind your back for me. You got cocaine in your nose.
Man, that's a lie. That's a lie. Don't wait. Oh, man, you got
Let go of my hand, goddammit. You understand me? Put your hands behind your back.
Well, that escalated quickly, didn't it? Apparently, this officer is also a medic and a pathologist and a lot of other things. Kentucky, George Henderson on the left, a 61-year-old man with Alzheimer's disease, disappeared from his Tennessee home early last month, prompting local police to issue a silver alert for the man. Henderson spent almost 3 decades in the U.S. Army, where he served in 6 overseas deployments, receiving head injuries and PTSD as a result. Retired Master Sergeant ended up beaten unconscious by Guthrie police officer Jacob Pritchett on the right, who accused Henderson of being under the influence of cocaine and arrested him on 5 criminal charges that remain pending, despite a lack of evidence to support those charges. Henderson disappeared from his home in Clarksville around 2 p.m. December 6. Silver Alert, which is a public notification system to share information about missing elderly people suffering from dementia and other mental disabilities, was issued at 4 p.m. by both the Clarksville Police Department and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. It's according to Clarksville Now. Temperatures dropping to 25 degrees that night, Henderson somehow ended up across state lines in Kentucky, where he was found 10 hours later in a gas station after the attendant called police to say Henderson attempted to get inside his parked car. The attendant was under the impression Henderson was trying to steal his car, but it appears as if Henderson was simply confused because of his disabilities. Atlanta Black Star giving us more on this one. When Pritchett arrived, Henderson appeared confused and incoherent, but not dangerous or violent. "I ain't doing nothing. I ain't trying to steal nothing," Henderson told the officer while wearing 2 different shoes on his feet. Cop then asked if he had any guns or knives as Henderson placed his hands inside his pockets, prompting the cop to grab one of his wrists and tell him to take your hands out of your pockets. "I don't have no guns," Henderson said. Cop then walked to the gas station attendant, who claimed that Henderson was trying to steal his car, told the officer that Henderson had to pull him out of his car and assaulted him. When the cop asked Henderson if he had been inside the attendant's car, he did not provide a coherent response, which led the cop to believe he was under the influence of drugs instead of suffering from a mental disability. "You take any kind of medication or something?" Pritchett asked Henderson. "Your pupils are very, very, very tiny, pinpointed. Can you look up in the air from me?" Footage from Jacob Pritchett's body cam also shows the cop accusing Henderson of having very, very, very tiny pinpointed eyes before accusing him of having cocaine in his nose. "I don't drink, I don't do drugs," Henderson said. But cocaine is known for causing eyes to become dilated, according to a fact sheet prepared by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. The complete opposite of pinpointed eyes, an important detail which evidently was not part of Pritchett's training. He also shows Pritchett ordering Henderson to let go of my hand. God damn it. After Henderson was rendered unconscious face down on the floor, but both the cop's hands remained visible and free of Henderson's grasp. Pritchett also accused Henderson of biting his hand during the struggle, but that is not evident in the video. It's only after paramedics arrived to treat Henderson for the laceration he received behind his right ear that Guthrie police learned that Henderson was the subject of a silver alert hours earlier out of neighboring Tennessee. Cop punched him in the back of the head, accusing him of holding onto his hand. But the video shows, look, ma, no hands. His hands are free. Guthrie Police Chief Dean Blumel, in a statement, said, "It was not dispatched to our dispatch." So that's what we do. We start immediately with the defense. Right. Nothing to see here. Based on the information Officer Pritchett had that was available to him and the circumstances that were presented during the interaction, Officer Pritchett handled the matter consistent with his training and departmental policy. Redo your policy and your training, pal. Pritchett was hired by the Guthrie Police Department September 2022, according to a Facebook post by the law enforcement agency, where he was described as a veteran who spent 6 years in the Army. Henderson was slapped with 5 charges that remain pending despite little evidence to back those up, including theft by unlawful taking, public intoxication, resisting arrest, assault of a police officer, and possession of a controlled substance, although that substance is not specified in the report, according to Clarksville Now. One thing law enforcement should have, because you can't teach everything, you can't train everything, is common sense and street smarts, perhaps. He didn't know anything about what a cokehead looked like, apparently. But here we are. All these charges later to try to make it go away so no one sees the department, or, hey, both sides played hard. It's despicable to me. If you can be trained, I use air quotes, to arrest somebody and suspect them of drug addiction or public intoxication, I would think that mental health crisis or something else, dementia, that could cross your mind too, but apparently it didn't. And so somebody's left unconscious and now they're facing all these charges. And oh, by the way, they have dementia. What say you, Moss?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that cocaine in your nose was illegal. I thought if you had the bag in your pocket, you know, but I thought if you get it in your nose, you win. Like at that point, you know, public intoxication, here's the ticket, go home. No, we all saw in that video how quickly that officer escalated it, because once you start accusing this gentleman of having cocaine in his nose, and then the gentleman gets defensive, and then, you know, it becomes violent, as opposed to, you know, being de-escalated. I think that obviously being a cop is not an easy job. They have a lot of decisions to make. There's a lot of quick decisions that need to be made. But when people were talking about defund the police, somebody had mentioned rethink the police. And rethinking the police means when you end up in a situation like this, you have someone who's there with you who has some mental health training, so that they can say, wait a minute, this, you know, hey, you know, imagine if this cop had someone, again, this goes back to our priorities as a country. If we had the funds for these departments to have a mental health specialist with them on a call like this, it wasn't like they got a call saying, hey, there's a robbery happening. You know, the guy said the guy's trying to take my car, but he wasn't he didn't have a gun, he wasn't violent. So if you send out a mental health specialist, that person at that point could have said, hey, let's talk for a second, and gone with, you know, the officer and said, look, this isn't drugs, this is something else. And then they go back and they de-escalate, and they find out that this poor gentleman was missing and was being looked for. And so, yeah, I think rethinking the police would be something this country could benefit from a lot.
Rethink them, repurpose, figure it out is what I would say. Because what you're doing now, even the clerk, I get it, somebody's messing with your car or something, but nothing dawned on you that, okay, the gentleman's in crisis here, something's going on here. You didn't need to go to this, you know, Barney Fife type thing where the man's unconscious and now you're loaded down with charges and his superior is defending this conduct, as if we don't know any better. As if we don't know, but I think we do.